Occurred, September 27, 2013, 11 o'clock. Location, Franklin. In shape, unknown. Duration, 2 seconds. Characteristics: there were lights on the object left a trail, there was an aura or haze around the object, we saw a burst of light, then a fast streak across the sky. My son and I were driving through the country about 11 p.m. or so and noticed something very large off in the distance. But as we approached its position, it wasn't there. It had a bright light and looked to be stationary. We returned to our original point and couldn't locate it. We continued into town and drove through a community in Franklin, Indiana. A bright blue flash covered the sky near where we saw the object west of town. Then suddenly a streak of white light appeared east of town, then faded. My best description would be like something off Star Trek. A bright light to blast off, then a streak left by something cruising at high speed. But the entire burst and streak only lasted 2 seconds.
Occurred, the 8th of May 2014, 1700. Location, Franklin. In shape, disk. Duration, brief seconds. Black saucer hovering. Was just taking picture and it appeared, and disappeared as quick as it appeared.
Occurred, February 17, 2015, 20:05. Location, Franklin. In shape, triangle. Duration, 4 to 5 minutes. Characteristics: there were lights on the object. Triangle hovered low for several minutes and went NNE slowly and silently. I was working delivering pizzas on February 17, 2015, and it was about 8:05 p.m. We had several inches of fresh snow and it was still overcast, no stars or moon. I was pulling up to a red light, on US 31 at the Franklin-Whiteland Town Line, Central Indiana, USA. I was the only car at the intersection. I was pulling up to the light, facing east, and I noticed 2 lights right behind the tree tops off to my 1 o'clock. They didn't seem to be moving, but I didn't think twice about it because sometimes planes seem to be standing still from the right angle. I came to stop, checked it was clear, and saw the 2 lights, white, steady on, still hadn't moved. And I noticed they were pretty far apart, roughly a city block and tilted down to the, right, maybe 20 degrees. I'm guessing 1/4 of a mile to half a mile away. I turned right on the red light, eyes now glued to the lights looking for distinction. As I moved south down US 31, a 3rd light came into view to the right of the first 2. Nearly the same distance apart it appeared. It was also white but flashed red at a little faster than once per second. I drove nearly a 1/4 mile, under the speed limit, rolling down the window, turning off the music and heat, and staring. I pulled over, realizing how unsafe I was being, silently watching, as it remained static, pitched, for around 2 full minutes. At this point I had still not heard any noises. That wasn't one of the 10 cars that passed me the entire time or my jaw hitting the road outside. After the approximate 2 minutes of watching 3 lights and hearing no sounds, the aircraft leveled off, allowing me to see the 2 white lights move together and reveal there was no further leading parts of the aircraft ahead of those points, straight across that edge. After leveling, it continued to pitch, this time to the NNW at maybe 10 degrees, and began moving, blunt edge first, in that direction. I saw it start moving and threw my car into gear and zipped to the next pass-through in the median, watching it the best I could. Still almost no traffic. I was able to get going northbound before it got far. It didn't leave quickly, just suddenly. I'm having trouble estimating its speed. It seemed to triple mine at the least, but not shockingly fast, no bright flash or anything. I got turned around and up to 60 miles per hour plus and was looking at the tailing end of it. The craft never ascended or descended. Remained just a few hundred feet off of the ground. I never saw any other lights, or heard any sounds. Even though I was able to watch it from 2 different positions, I never got a glimpse of its silhouette. just the shape of the three lights and the angle change when it pitched forward at the front, before it left. I followed the best I could, maybe 30 seconds watching the two steady white lights at the sides, and the white light flashing red centered right in between them, until it again faded behind the treetops a few miles ahead of me in straight line, D. I saw no other planes, helicopters or crafts any time before or after.
Occurred, the 6th of August 2022 1930 Location, Franklin, in shape, circle duration. 10 minutes approximately observed donut-shaped craft moving over my yard with excellent visibility conditions. Early evening August 6th, approximately 7:30 p.m., I was in my backyard along with our two dogs. My son was in his bedroom, my fiancé was dozing in our room. The sky was clear and really stunning, with gigantic thunderheads south of us and a bright moon. In the west the sun was going down but the view was absolutely clear. Birds were still singing. Beautiful evening, very still and peaceful. I decided to water all of our potted plants and fill the bird baths despite a chance of rain. As I walked to the rear of our property, I saw an object moving over our neighbor's trees. It was about the altitude of a private plane, maybe a bit lower, and I could see it very clearly, although I had no idea what it was and my brain was just trying to make sense of it. It was a black and thick round disc, looked metallic but not shiny. Graphite came to mind. It moved slowly, silently and deliberately. It floated with intent. It came over the trees like a frisbee, but then turned on its side like a wheel, and I could see a hole in the middle, like a donut. It kind of undulated when it turned to its side. I was transfixed and everything was just silent for many minutes. Suddenly I came to my senses and ran as fast as I could to the house to grab my phone from the charger. I ran back out trying to get my phone started up and pull up my camera. By that time, seconds had passed. The object had turned due north, oriented like a frisbee again, and had moved with high speed away, to where I could not find it in my camera viewfinder. Then it was a speck, then gone. I was flooded with adrenaline and realizing I'd seen something I'd never ever expected to see. I then had an overwhelming feeling of foreboding and uneasiness, and thought to myself, I hope it didn't see me watching it. I came in and told my son, who then pulled up a number of YouTube videos, photos, of black donut UAPs. They were exactly what I saw over my yard, although I had no knowledge of that shape prior to my sighting. I've told very few people, and with trepidation. About me, I consider myself an open-minded individual. I am a mom of two nearly grown sons, age 57, hold a bachelor's degree, am involved with community events and sit on a board for a local nonprofit, and started my own small business in the arts during the pandemic. I'm imaginative but not delusional. I was 100% sober, awake and fully cognizant. I've always been a skywatcher and find the subject of UAPs, UFOs, fascinating and completely plausible. I'm glad that the evidence is finally receiving the grave scientific attention that is warranted. Side note, the dogs made themselves scarce. I did not notice them near me or any interaction between them at that time.
Occurred, the 11th of September 2022 1928 Location, Franklin, in shape, rectangle duration, 20 minutes characteristics. There was an aura or haze around the object. The object emitted other objects. The object emitted beams. There were aircraft in the vicinity or aircraft chasing the object looked like fire in the sky. Objects moving too slow to meteor or comment. Kept disappearing and reappearing every 5 or so minutes. My roommate and I were driving down 65 South toward the Shelbyville exit 91. When my roommate said, "Look, the sky is on fire." We kept driving and got off the highway and turned left on State Road 43 toward Shelbyville Inn. The objects disappeared once we were off the highway but then returned. This went on for about 20 minutes of them appearing and disappearing, coming back with larger proportions and often splitting from one object to two. We pulled over in a cornfield to study the sky and then the object, after appearing for the 4th time, disappeared and never came back.